Welcome to our second week of this initiatic path, acknowledging the universe within our body, following the chakras going up. This week we are going to work and talk about the knees chakra, which is related to our ancestors and flexibility. Usually we don't talk about this chakra like the one on the feet, because when we are talking about the spiritual growth and the spiritual alignment, we usually tend to relate everything to our glands, and we go up into the skies, taking the shape of the meditation position, which is like sitting on the floor with the root chakra grounded on the ground. But actually, we usually forget about the potential that our legs has in our life, and we use those chakras a lot, but we don't usually put them in practice in a spiritual way. So the chakra related to our knees is the one related to our past and our ancestors. Is the one that reflects our way of relationship with our history, is the one that shows us our ability to be flexible under the changes of evolution, through the changes of centuries, history, throughout the links that we have with our parents, grandparents, all our family members. The links that are created in our knees are the ones that shows us if we are able to adapt, if we are able to transcend the past, to transform it into something useful in the present, and if we are capable of transcend our reality today in order to jump into a new one. So it also represents the point of inflection in our life, and also the stability. So the two legs represents like these two columns that holds us in between heaven and earth. So one of the knees represents a feminine side, the other one a masculine side. So one represents the sky, the other one represents the earth. And these are like the two pillars of our own temple. The one that we have to hold within from the root chakra to the crown chakra, it's held by these two pillars that represents heaven and earth. There are many traditions that has these towers as a symbol of change, as a symbol of transformation, as a symbol of connectivity with other realms in other dimensions. The two towers basically are like trunks of a tree that one represents the tree of life and the other one represents the tree of wisdom. These two trees that we have encoded in our legs find its point of transformation in each one of our knees. Usually, the left knee is representing the tree of life and representing, of course, the feminine side of our body. Is the pillar that connects us to the earth. And the other one, the right knee, is the one that is related to the patterns. So the father, the masculine side, and of course the tree of knowledge, the tree of wisdom. These two trees compose the great tree of creation, and these two pillars are the two fundaments of all human history. And not only human, but every family and every living being that exists. This is why the chakra of the knees is also related to the concept of the great tree that connects us all. We have many traditions talking about the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. These two trees apparently are like one, but they are entangled to one another. And throughout many traditions and histories, these two trees are like the beginning of everything, the source of every energy and every information. They are the connection that we have throughout the entire cosmos. And basically they represent the good and the evil. They represent the positive and the negative. They represent duality, polarity, and all the forces that created life, that guided life, and that give a sense, a meaning to our minds and our humanity. Of course, the most known history about the Tree of Life is related to the one that we have read in the Bible, or we have heard about the Semitic traditions. In the Semitic traditions in the Middle East, the idea of a paradise is a concept that created the tradition of a belief that there is a garden where all humanity and all life was born in the middle of the desert. And in that garden there were two trees, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And when humanity was created there, they used to be able to live in harmony, eating anything they wanted, having everything they wanted. But God said to them, do not touch these two trees. Don't eat from the fruit of the tree of life or the tree of wisdom. So basically the tree of life gave all the potential, gave all life to every living being, like the feminine side. And in the other side, the masculine, it was the power of knowledge. It was the power of becoming a god. And that's the tree that in the story we humans shouldn't take from. We shouldn't eat from that tree, because there was a source, a divine source, that was against the idea of us becoming also these gods and goddesses. The story tells that there's a snake that rolls in the trunk of this tree of wisdom, and the snake calls a woman to grab from the fruit of this tree. The woman eats this fruit, and the woman saw the truth. She came back and told the truth to the man, and the man, because he was afraid of eating from that tree, commits like the first sin, which is not respecting the decision of God. So from that moment, from that story of the tree, all humanity has been sent to suffer and to live disconnected from the paradise. This story about the tree is talking about something much more deeper than just a place in the Middle East where is a magical tree that nobody can eat from. The tree is related to the matrix, is related to all the information that is in the toroidal existence. If you take the shape of a torus, which means a magnetical field coming from the center with the positive and the negative, what you have is the shape of a tree or the shape of an apple. You have the branches up and the branches down, and the magnetical field of positive and negative touch the tips of the branches and roots, creating this shape of a fruit. So the flower, the fruit, the seed, and the branches of a tree, they are all encoded in this concept of magnetical field. So we could say that the planet itself has a tree of life that goes from within to the outside in the magnetical North Pole and the magnetical South Pole. This means that the paradise is actually what is hidden inside that tree of life. The tree grows inside that paradise. The word paradise basically means a garden between walls, which means that it's a limited potential that is kept inside something. Basically, it's describing a cell. It's a cell that has all the potential of everything, of all life, that is guarded in the limits of something. It's guarded in the limits of a wall. And inside, the shape of the toroid is the tree that encodes all that information. Then you have the snake. The snake is the DNA. The DNA is the one that crawls in the tree and holds all the fruits, which are basically 4. Adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. These 4 elements, earth, water, fire, and air, in our DNA are the potentials of creation. So the Kundalini is actually the snake of the DNA. It's a chain of a chemical component called phosphorus, which is basically light. So the phosphorus ignites and it shines like DNA. This snake of light, which is inside of these inner walls of the cell, held by the tree of life, which is the magnetical field of positive and negative, is basically the Garden of Eden that encodes the feminine and the masculine and encodes the keys to all life. So these 2 trees, positive, which is wisdom, and negative, which is life, are replicated as a fractal in our knees. And inside this Garden of Eden, we have all information of our ancestors, which means that basically this tree of life is alive within us. We have been looking for that tree of life for centuries, trying to find the Garden of Eden in heaven or here on earth in a specific place in the Middle East. But actually, this metaphor is describing how the first humans, the first woman, the first man, had encoded these fruits, seeds, flower of life within themselves. So actually, when you grab the paradise, which is the circle that encodes the information inside, and you start to divide it and multiply it, you start to have the famous symbol of the seed of life. So one circle and replicates around with other 6. So you have the seed of life. And then you grow more and you have the flower, and more and you have the fruit, and more and you have the tree. So what these circles replicating represent is basically mitosis, which is the division of the cells, and meiosis, which is the creation of new cells. So this process of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge, meiosis and mitosis, is the one that replicates all information in the entire planet, in all life. So what we have been telling through stories, through the snake, the dragon, the feminine, the masculine, the tree of life, is actually the story of every cell that is alive within us. And basically the snake, which is the DNA, is the activation of that potential within ourselves. And the first one on taking information from the snake of the DNA is, of course, the feminine, because the feminine body is the one that is able to create another human being, is the one that has the potential inside to create mother cells that are able to replicate and create a new human from the very beginning. So that's why the first one on transcending the system, waking up within, acknowledging the power of creation inside, of course, is a feminine body. The replication of this system of the tree of life through every creature in existence is basically the understanding of how we all are connected and we all have that information inside. The tree of life is basically a system that describes a pattern of expansion in the universe. So from one circle, you have a vesica Piscis, which is the division of this circle into another one. So what you start to create there with these 2 circles is the polarity of positive and negative. So the neutral in the center, which is like a leaf or like a mouth or a vagina, this symbol in the center is the one that creates neutrality, and it's a portal of creation towards the outside and the inside. And the other two represents this positive and negative that holds this portal of creation. After that, it starts to replicate by 4, 8, 16, and so on. So it starts to replicate the same information throughout the entire universe. The tree of life is basically a ramification of the main patterns of creation. It's a sphere that replicates through purpose and mission, expanding towards the outside, but constantly replicating again the same system. We can picture this image through the idea of subatomical particles, which basically are all these strings of information that are vibration. So like the strings of the DNA, they are entangled and rolling and vibrating in different resonance. So it creates like snakes of light. And as much more they shine, what we see is a spectrum, a spherical spectrum, that it seems like it's a dot or a sphere. So this inner vibration, like the DNA, creates a particle that is like a sphere of light. And then this one, if it's negative, connects with another one which is positive. So it starts to create basic apices. It creates a structure of an atom. An atom searches for another one similar, attached, creating a molecule, and so on. The tree of life starts to create through these snakes of light that shape a sphere, that divide itself in positive and negative, and starts to multiply the whole system throughout the entire cosmos and universe. So everything that is basically energy, that is based in vibration, that is based in particles, starts to create the tree of life. So it's